Daniel Carter learned to be invisible after his wife died. Not by choice, by survival. When grief meets responsibility, loud dreams fade and quiet routines take over. He woke before sunrise, packed lunches with one hand while tying his daughter Emma's shoelaces with the other, then drove her to a daycare that cost more than he could afford but less than losing his job. By the time he reached the office, he had already lived a full day. At work, Daniel didn't complain. He didn't join office jokes or linger by the coffee machine. He fixed problems. He stayed late. He answered emails at midnight when Emma finally slept. And when the company began to struggle, missed targets, shrinking margins, tense leadership meetings, Daniel noticed before anyone else. The signs were subtle: a supplier quietly changing payment terms, a data report that didn't align with real-world numbers, a rushed expansion plan that looked good on slides but bled cash underneath. Daniel saw it all because he had learned to look carefully at life. When you're raising a child alone, you learn that small details can become disasters if ignored. One night, after Emma fell asleep clutching her favorite stuffed bear, Daniel opened his laptop at the kitchen table. The numbers didn't lie. The company wasn't just underperforming, it was weeks away from collapse. A bad acquisition, an overleveraged loan, one wrong quarter away from layoffs, or worse. Daniel wrote a long email to management. Clear, respectful, detailed. He suggested a quiet exit from the risky deal, renegotiation with suppliers, and a temporary freeze on expansion. He hesitated before sending it. He wasn't a manager. He was just an analyst with a tired face and no political capital. Still, he pressed send. No reply came. Weeks passed. The company announced an emergency all-hands meeting. Whispers spread through the halls. Layoffs, bankruptcy, CEO replacement. Daniel sat in the conference room, Emma's daycare calling twice. He declined both, heart pounding. He stared at the table, preparing himself for the worst. When the CEO entered, the room fell silent. Just when Daniel believed his voice had been ignored forever, the CEO revealed the truth, and every sacrifice Daniel made in silence finally mattered. The CEO didn't sit. He stood at the head of the table, eyes scanning the room. Executives looked nervous. Some avoided eye contact. Then the CEO said something no one expected. Before we discuss the future, he began, I want to talk about the past. Specifically, about a decision that saved us. Murmurs rippled across the room. The CEO clicked the remote. A slide appeared, Daniel's email. Word for word, highlighted recommendations, timestamped showing it had been sent weeks before the crisis peaked. This, the CEO said, is why we're still here. He turned and pointed directly at Daniel. He saw it before anyone else did. While most of us were focused on appearances, he was focused on reality. We followed his plan, quietly, no press, no announcements, and because of that, we avoided layoffs, stabilized our cash flow, and renegotiated our future. The room went still. Daniel felt heat rush to his face. He hadn't even known they used his plan. The CEO continued, voice firm. I later learned something else. He did this while raising a child alone. While working late nights without recognition. While never once asking for credit. Then, softer, that's leadership. People began to clap, slowly at first, then louder. Executives stood. Colleagues who had never spoken to Daniel wiped their eyes. For the first time in years, Daniel felt seen, not as a burden, not as a background figure, but as a man who mattered. After the meeting, the CEO stopped him in the hallway. We're creating a new role, he said. One that reflects who you already are. Daniel nodded, overwhelmed, but what mattered most wasn't the title or raise, it was the text message waiting on his phone. Emma, Daddy, are you coming to my school play tonight? He smiled through tears and typed back, I wouldn't miss it for the world. That night, Daniel sat in the audience watching Emma wave from the stage, realizing something profound. Success isn't always loud. Sometimes it sits quietly, doing the right thing, loving deeply, and waiting patiently for truth to catch up.